Compton passed away. His team lost election that day and the mantle passed over to Kenny and Team Labor. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I say that ball. If you hear him, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, Captain, seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know. The Saint Lucia, oh, she was a beauty with features that few surpassed. And in her day, she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Things look dull. She's at a lull. She could barely sit on a hull. Have we balling? Captain, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. I said no. I said no. Captain, you tell me what to do. The Saint Lucia, in her day of sailing, she was a friend, a true friend to one and all. And in her day, she sailed majestically. No government doing bubble. And yes, well,
Yes, a special good night.
to help out
Special good night to all our viewers on the platform. Greetings to you, friends. Welcome to another episode of Caribbean American News Media, the news you report. And again, it is in my opinion. Yes, I go through the news of the day and then I come to a conclusion. Yes, but greetings, friends. Good to have you here with us. Aka fait, monsieur. Tout le monde bien? Tout le monde hen manger, zo manger, zo hen manger. All is well, everything is good. Yes, friends, greetings, greetings again. It is good to have you here on the platform with us here at Caribbean American News Media Platform. Yes, it is 7:03 here in our bunker, and I'm sure in your area it is another time, yes, and another place, that's obvious. But greeting, friends, and it is a privilege to be here with you. I had a friend who called me today, and he said to me, are you coming on tonight? And I said, not really. And he said, but what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I said, okay, all right, okay, I'm going to be on tonight. And so I am now convinced even more that I need to be on when I am scheduled, so that, we can inform you, we can keep you up to date, we can keep your minds together, letting you know that you're not alone, that we are with you here on the platform. All right, so we're happy to have you. We are going tonight. It's a lot of work we have tonight. It's not like the other nights. It is not like last night either. We have a lot of work to do here today. I want to thank my technical advisors who called me today. You know yourself, and advised me, and all those who have been updating me and just giving me the information that is necessary.
Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it?
Folks, let me know if you're hearing me loud and clear, but we're on, firing on all cylinder. Over on our YouTube channel, we want to greet those of you who are just joining us on that platform. The chat is not up as yet. It will be up shortly. And to those of you who are on our platform, also Radio 300, thank you so much for your company tonight. Yes, Robert is present, and Milton is there in Montreal and is in the house. And also my friend Malcolm over in Miku. Greetings to you. Marva, how are you doing? Greetings. Bernadette, Xavier, good to have you. Robert, greetings. Everybody, Duncan, it's good to have you. And my troublesome Joseph is there, Doris. My troublesome Doris is there. I got to do something special for Doris. And Charles, my brother, is on the platform. To those of you who are just logging in again, I want to greet you. And John is on. Oh, the music is too loud. Good. I did something to the system, and so everything seems to be louder than me. All right, but I think we are better now. Yes, we are better now. I didn't even listen to the music running in the background, but greetings, folks. Greetings. Remember, you need to share the live and tag a friend. Share the live, tag a friend. I'm just testing out my gadgets in the studio here to ensure that we have a comfortable night. We need to have our flush button and everything else well oiled, greased, ready for firing. All right, folks, we have a whole set of work here to do tonight, and we're going to take you back down memory lane. For those who forget very easily, please tag a friend, share, like, follow. If you're not following, you need to follow Caribbean American News Media. You also need to like. You also got to subscribe if you can on both channels, over on YouTube and our page here on Facebook. We encourage you, friends, to support the platform as much as you can when we get on to the platform. I spend a lot of hours today just sitting here trying to browse through stuff and see, where am I going wrong, what needs to be improved, and also looking at what is going wrong with our government, what is going wrong with our people there in St. Lucia. And so my Dudu, Lydia Francis, is now on, and Je pense the Francis is coming in. Wow, I just found out that Western Union is on strike. That's not too good. That's not too good. Francis, how are you? And so I haven't seen Martin as yet. Martin is always coming in late. We'll have to discipline Martin. And when he comes in with a whole set of noise. So we got to watch Martin and keep Martin from, all the noise when he comes in. All right? So I'm looking out for Martin. I'm not feeling well unless I see Martin. Anybody who know Martin, let him know that I'm looking for him. And he have to come and apologize to us for coming into our chat room late. No badge, Martin. No badge, Martin. Yes, friends. So if you heard me loud and clear, let me just do a test on this sound. Okay, good. So we're firing good. The system have corrected itself. It is now functioning the way it should. Our audio quality. All right. And so God is good. So friends, I don't know where to start. I really don't know where to start. We're going to wait for 100 viewers so that we can get the program going. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you to share and to like the platform. All right. It is February the 6th, 2024. For those of you who are just waking up, you're just realizing that something is wrong. Yes, time is running and you're heading closer to an elections there in St. Lucia. Mervyn is saying Western Union in St. Lucia. Yes, they're on strike. We are in problems. Yes, once Western Union is striking, then all fall down. To Dalfini. All fall down. And let me say to our viewers, when you have information that you want to send over to us, for those of you who have my private line, my private number, you can forward your news, updates, and information to that number also. But the main number, while we do not always respond right away, it is 929-586-1821. You can forward any information, there, and we will keep your privacy. We'll keep you protected when you pass on your information to the platform. All right? Lydia Francis, sugar reached today, but what kind of sugar is that? I thought they said the sugar came 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. All right, so you're going to get some sugar now, and guess what? You're going to have more shortages. That's just the trend. There's nothing you can do much about it. That's how it's going to be. So you might as well just sit back and relax. We got news today, friends. We got some news today. We got some news today that, let me just see here. All right, yes, that's good. So we got some news today that a former government minister was arrested and he was taken into custody for illegal firearm or threatening an individual with an illegal firearm. Now, I am still waiting for the other news network to carry it so that I can come behind them. I don't rush the gun. But I am aware of the individual, and if that report is true, and it is that person, that former government minister, then I would say to you that I am not surprised with some of these fellas. They're angry, they're rude, they're dangerous, they're deadly, they're out of control, and they believe that they rule the country. They're in charge. Anything goes. We heard in the market someone said, well, I give my vote to the Central Castries minister, and nobody can move me from here. And, yeah, that's why I vote for him. Nobody can do me nothing. And that's the mood of these supporters. And it is also the mood, the mentality of some of the ministers, both present and former ministers, who believe that, their government is in power, and yes, 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 what, you all can't tell us nothing. You all just need to take what we give you, and that's it. So that's the feel out there. And hey, Molly Ball, not many for Curly, yes. So that's the idea. And this minister, we will have an entire program on him. This former minister. I mean, your government is in power and you don't have license for a firearm. I thought that you guys pull strings for each other, and you some of you are responsible for licensing, whether it's a radio station or television station, whether it's whatever license is, vending license. You guys are in charge of all these things, and how come you don't have a permit? And my question would be, if it is true and it is an illegal firearm, where did you get it? Where did you get it, former minister? Where did you get it? And I will show you, if what I am hearing is true, that it seems to me that the United Workers' Party have a nice way of purging itself from bad ministers, from bad aspiring leaders. It will appear that way because it to me, every time the United Workers' Party either disfellowship or expel one of their members for whatever reasons, then the SLP have a way of taking them and turning them into saints. And it's good for the United Workers' Party. And I am telling you, it is bad for the St. Lucia Labour Party, because these fellas, they can't help themselves. They always get into trouble. They always get into trouble. And maybe that's why the party, in its infinite wisdom, expels some of them, get rid of them. Some of them don't really jump the ship, Nah, man, they just ignore them, and so they leave. They get frustrated. Yes, they get frustrated. Try not to call names, folks, on the platform. All right? As I said, I am not going to call the name of the individual as yet. I'll wait for the next broadcast. I'm going to allow the news network to go forward. So let's try not to add names to the platform, all right, until we can get concrete information. But based on what I'm hearing, it could have been the name of the person was mentioned in the news. Please let me know, because I put out news, but I did not put the name of that former minister. But I know once I hear former minister, it got to be that out of control one. Always used to call Norbert Show and try to control the man's station. Yeah, but we will watch that. You don't worry. We'll have an entire segment. Did they call his name? Did they call the former minister's name today on the news tonight? Let me know. Once they did, I am going straight forward. Straight forward. Yes. I want a few people to confirm that the identity of the minister was mentioned. Yeah. You saw it on Facebook? Okay, so you never heard the name in the news. That's what I thought. The name is not in the news as yet. Yes, all right. But it is in the news that a former minister was arrested on some gun issues. So I am not going to call anybody's name here on this platform. I am too wise for that. All right, so let's move forward with the news tonight. We're going to look at the St. Jude's Hospital. And also we are going to look at a statement by the Prime Minister. We're going to listen to we're going to get an update from the Prime Minister. of St. Lucia, who said that he's not going to work, he don't want to work with Mr. Alan Shastney. All right? So let's go into let's just get our stuff lined up here, and we're going to get right into it. Okay? So let's go over to
Pierre, who has come under fire from the opposition for his management of the issue, has however rejected the opposition leader's offer.
How can you come together with people who call you criminals? You see, these things are first of all, there is absolutely no reason why any government or any citizen would want crime in a country. I mean, what does a country have to gain by crime, by violence? Where is the gain by violence? You understand? So the idea of coming together as if it's something that you should be divided about is superfluous. You come together on things that divide you. But there ought to be no reason why we need to have any doubt that crime is not good for a country.
So, folks, let's just pause that for a minute. We'll have to go through this slowly because just listening to the Prime Minister kind of slows me down a little, and that's just the truth. So, we have a crime. Let's admit, all of us, that we have a crime situation in the country. We have a major crime problem in the nation. Both the opposition and the Prime Minister of St. Lucia government would agree that we need to come together in order to deal with this situation in the country. So here is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, folks. He is the National Security Minister and the Prime Minister of the country. Here is the man who is responsible. The buck stops with him. Here is the brother who ran out of ideas a very long time ago, a year after he was elected. And then he says to the St. Lucian people, if you all have any ideas, let me know. And then here is the Prime Minister addressing St. Lucians. And he's saying, that well, I don't want to hear the former Prime Minister. I don't want to hear the opposition leader. Why we want to work together? Why? And I want you to listen carefully. Why should we work together? Why? There is no reason why. Basically, I'm telling you, he's confusing me, and I'm sure he's confusing you. So let's just listen to him.
Country. So why are there two sides as it relates to crime? Why is there an opposition side and a government side when it comes to crime? Why?
The recent utterances from key members of the United Workers' Party are a sign of their
be no reason why we need to have any doubt that crime is not good for a country. So why are there two sides as it relates to crime?
So let's just ask this question, Mr. Prime Minister. What two sides are you talking about? I am seriously confused. What two sides, Mr. Prime Minister, are you talking about? What two sides of crime? Crime is crime. I don't understand the statement. Is there an opposition crime and a Labour Party crime? What are you talking about, two sides? The people of St. Lucia, they're calling for national unity on the fight against crime. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Prime Minister, that based on the impacts report, based on the statement by Dr. Kenny Anthony, who confirmed that there is some very bad people in government, both in government and in the business sector. So my question again, and we got to face, and this is the problem, St. Lucians. None of these fellas want to face the reality on the ground. There is always this bed of roses when I'm in power, and this sweet St. Lucia, and nothing is wrong, and everything is just great in the country. And we're not having it tonight. The government must face the reality that there are some bad people within their ranks. Mr. Kenny Anthony knows that too well. And this Prime Minister, he's very much aware. He's very much aware that there is a problem even among our government's system. There is a problem with our legal system. There's a problem at our ports because our scanners were damaged by someone in authority. Our radars are not working. Were not working. So we have a major problem. And the impacts report, and that's why, Mr. Prime Minister, you got to deal with the impacts report so that people will stop speculating and they would know the facts. But I will allow you to continue.
The recent utterances from key members of the United Workers' Party are a sign of desperation, says the Prime Minister. Opposition Senator Dominic Fede told a press conference last week that the SLP administration has not been forceful enough on the surging crime situation, as many of the party's supporters are criminals. At a roundtable discussion, UWP Chairman Ferrell Prudent alleged that the proliferation of guns on the streets is enabled by the Labour administration because of its ineptitude.
What's them of coming together? There is no division. If the opposition wants to create division with crime and violence, then they need to come together.
Okay, so let's just deal with facts on this platform. Let's deal with the facts. The opposition, there is no division with the opposition, sir. You divided the country. You and your Labour Party divided the country during the reign of Alan Chastney. You were campaigning every day, every minute of the day. There were about 20 of you on radio, television, social media, just peddling stuff, calling Mr. Chastney criminal, calling Guy Joseph criminal, calling everybody on the United Workers' Party side criminals. And because if you say that they're corrupt, then corruption is a criminal act. And let's just take our time to deal, friends, with the reality. This is the problem. We do not want to deal with the reality. I got many threats from supporters of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Insulted, humiliated. Kiki Arrow said that he got death threat. It is alleged that on a national radio and television station in the country, the man was threatened with violence. I was threatened to be lashed with stones and everything else by one of your supporters. So you're acting now like something, like nothing is going on. Is the United Workers' Party, as far as I'm concerned, the United Workers' Party is a very peaceful party. I don't go around threatening anyone. Mr. Chastney don't go around threatening anyone. And I dare you to name one among the United Workers' Party who goes around threatening people, pushing police officers on private properties, going in police officers' faces. I dare you to prove to me. Who among us, and I'll be happy to call them out, have crossed the street and entered into the faces of individuals to fight with them because of their position, because of their choice in supporting a party? Who blocked the streets? Who caused a dark era in the history of the country? And my question would be, which former minister of yours or supporter of yours was arrested for assault with a firearm? And how many of your government ministers who were involved in assaulting people with firearms and other means? So let's face the reality, friends. And maybe it's time for us to stop all the garbage, all the games, and let's face the reality that there is an anger problem in the country. There is a issue with guns in the country. There is no dogs at our entries. There is no scanners at our entries. There is no radar. Well, there might be one now, but the radar system was down. Yes. Yes, my friends. And let me tell you something. Mr. Prime Minister, please go to the impacts report. Former Prime Minister Kenny Anthony spoke on the impacts report. He said to St. Lucians publicly that there are individuals within the private sector and the government who are involved in illegal stuff. And here is the opportunity for us to address crime on a whole. Now you are pulling games. What did the opposition say that was wrong? Mr. Prudent said, the chairman of the party, said at the press conference that you guys, because of your lackadaisical and your lazy attitude towards crime, then all these things are happening in the country. And it is true. You removed the dogs. And I have said it before on this platform that anyone who started this idea of removing the dogs, they should be held responsible too. Because how can you hear the police system saying to you that the dogs are effective? The dogs have assisted us in the seizure of millions of dollars in illegal stuff. Which means that if the dogs are so successful in retrieving illegal items, it means that the dogs are paying for themselves. Well, I'm just an onlooker, and I would conclude that. But what did Mr. Prudent and the United Workers' Party say, or what have they said at their sitting that needs correction or need an apology? As far as I'm concerned, you, the government, need to apologize to the citizens of the country because you are not securing the people. We're not hearing from you guys on matters of crime. And look, we're hearing from you now, and what you are doing, you are saying to the people, the opposition say, when we have no time for these games. We want you. You have no choice, Mr. Prime Minister. You have no choice, Mr. Government, than to work with the opposition and all sectors in the society. We, the citizens, are asking you. We are telling you. It's not a request. We are not giving you choices. We are saying to you to seek for our security and our family security. You have no choice. You must work with every agent. You got to work with every agency in your government. You have to work with every sector in St. Lucia. You got to work with your opposition leader. You must work with them. You got to put away childish things. You have no choice at this time because people are living in fear. You have no choice. None. This is not your private business. It is not. The people's life depends on your actions. But you spend so much time at a press conference, and every time there's a major issue, you're blaming the opposition. They are the ones who did the tax thing. The opposition, they're the ones who have to apologize for the crime. The opposition, we are tired of hearing this. You are the government. How many times we have to remind you, sir, that you are the government and the buck stop with you, not our commissioner, not Richard Frederick, not Joachim and them fellas. It stops with you. You are the head of government. Look, we have a shooting outside of the Governor General's house. Somebody got killed there, and it is way hours after that day when the guys patrolling that they see that a guy was killed. What kind of foolishness is that? That should not even be in our news. It's an embarrassment. Any shots you hear fired around the Governor General house, the SSU, the police need to comb that area. You comb the area. You ensure that the Governor General is safe. You ensure that the compound is safe. It means that you move around that compound, the exterior and the interior of those compounds. So you walk around the fence, you walk around the house, you walk around the buildings, you walk around every inch of the property to ensure that the Governor General is safe. So if we're finding out a man got killed outside of the Governor General's place, and you're finding out in the morning when you go to patrol, then what are we doing? What are you doing? And brethren, you understand why I might have to start taking more high blood pressure pills and all kind of pills? Because this is ridiculous. We don't want to have a childish fight between two ministers or the opposition and the government on crime. And this is the problem, and this is why the country is not slowly but rapidly heading down a dangerous path. So we would expect that the Prime Minister in this press thing would come to us and answer the questions appropriately. And even though you don't feel like working with Mr. Shastney or the opposition, just say something that shows unity. Just say, I am willing to work with the opposition and we're willing to work together with anyone in order to bring an end to this crime. You wasn't even presidential. You wasn't even acting like the head of the government. You acting like some little fella down the road with a dispute and some childish playpen thing. And we're supposed to sit down and say nothing because the hacks will come for us and threaten us. And the same problem we have, you think that there's no hack listening to me right now or on Facebook right now calling me names or threatening or cursing or insulting? They're doing exactly what you are doing, playing around, forming the fool, simigwin with the lives of St. Lucians. And it's a shame that we got to be speaking to our Prime Minister a certain way. It's not something that we're comfortable in doing. We want to respect our Prime Minister. We want to respect our leaders in the society. But enough is enough. You spend almost 45 minutes beating around the bush with taxes. It's not me, it's them. Then you blaming the police. When they ask you what you're going to do, well, the police have all the power to do what they have to do. The police. You're blaming the police, really. That's what you did when you do that. You passed the buck to them. So, in other words, you were saying that you did everything you had to do for them. It is always somebody else and not the government of St. Lucia. And maybe you need to make a public statement. You need to address the nation. You need to allow the national anthem to play behind you. You need to stand up behind the coat of armor. And you need to address the citizens of St. Lucia seriously. Assure them that they are secured. Assure them that you're doing all you can together with the other agencies of government. Give them the assurance. Give them the comfort knowing that the Prime Minister is working on their behalf. Their national security, he is working on their behalf. Alleviate their fear a little, at least, please. When people have to be burying their deads, burying their children, burying their cousins, burying their mothers, burying their fathers, or living in fear because they don't know when somebody's going to strike on them in revenge. They can't get their son, so they get the mother. Do you understand that people's life is at stake? Ekulaka simigwen neklavimun. And don't tell me I can't speak. Come on, folks, don't tell me I can't speak. This is ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. Every major problem in the country is a passing is this, is that one, is not me. And we're just supposed to sit here and say, good. He's a good man, good. He loves his country. I'm not questioning your love for the country. I will never do that. But your works is not showing. You're not showing your fruits, is not showing the manifestation of your love. It is not showing because the manifestation of your love will be reflected in your actions, your policies. And so far, we're questioning your works because you implemented a tax that you were warned about and you don't care about it, collecting millions of dollars on poor families, sucking from poor families in the country and boasting that you make millions of dollars on them. Sucking from the bus drivers, sucking from the fishermen, sucking from commuters on the road. And then you boast that we look at what we did, look at how much money we had surplus. And these poor families' pockets are empty and your coffers are full as a government. And you are comfortable with that, boasting to them. And some of them don't even understand that you are boasting about the monies that you took from them through taxes. Look at our roads. Shame on the National Trust come out and correcting that it's not Pigeon Island, it's this and that. Talk about the crime that took place up there. You didn't even want people coming to use Pigeon Island and say to them, listen to me. If you guys want to go and have your sex, you're going to a hotel. Don't come up here because it's dangerous. Don't see out too late around here. Or we will call on the police to step up on security around here. We need at least some patrols, regular patrols. This is what we're going to do to ensure that we secure Pigeon Point. Your parties are PSOs have. Everything seems to be broken, mash up. The Minibuses Association, quasi mash up. Medical and dental, quasi mash up. Civil servants, quasi mash up. Everything seems to be just mash up, quasi plat down planet. Nothing seems to be functioning. No pressure groups, nothing at all. Nobody's telling the government the truth. You are telling them when you go to drink their rum that you're doing well, we'll vote to you. And they're believing you. They're believing that everything is all right. And it is just the flabo who wants power and are keeping noise. St. Lucians are suffering.
Opposition, a former parliamentarian, can accuse more than 50% of the people of being criminals. I mean, I mean, this is a statement which I didn't want to answer, but you asking me because I consider it ignorance and frustration at its highest. Frustration at being in opposition. So I didn't want to answer it. But since you answered me, desperation at its highest. And that desperation can lead to other things. You understand? I didn't want to get involved in that. That's why I didn't answer it last week. But since you answered me, you asked me, I'm going to answer. This is desperation. It's ignorance. And it shows the sign of drowning men who are clutching.
But hold a minute. How can the opposition be drowned in men when they're not in government? I don't understand that, honestly. You guys are the drowned in guys, should be the drowned in guys, not the opposition. The opposition is not in the ship. They're not even the captain of the ship. So how are they drowned in guys when they're already drowned? They already lost the elections. They're already on the sideline. Yopagu Vedma. How is it they're drowned in when they're not in power? They have no authority, no power. Because if they had power, we would see more action in the country. We would see our road fixed. We would see St. Jude's finished. We would see our airport completed properly. So how they are drowned in when they're not in power? Who is advising our Prime Minister? Please, who's advising him? How the opposition drowned in? How? When? How? You guys are the ones who are the captain and the shipmen and everything else. You all are everything. How is it desperation? For what? You guys got to be desperate because time is running out on you all. So you all will be the ones, and you will understand desperation at the end of the year. You are the ones who are afraid for St. Jude's not finishing and you lose the elections, you know. You are the ones who pushing and forcing everybody to finish St. Jude's for elections. You are the ones who are scared, you know. You are the ones who are afraid, not the opposition. The opposition praying for you to call elections. How are they drunk when they're praying for you to call an election? You make me sound like a political analyst. You make me sound like a political scientist on you. How are they drowning? Why? Why are they drowning? Why? The Flabo is not a ship, it's a train. If you tell me they run off the rail, fine, but they're still on the rail the last time I checked. Flabo is not a ship, it's a train. The Labour Party is a ship and it's in the middle of a very dangerous ocean. And it looks like they have no sail. Captain fall off the ship. And nobody else knows how to manage the ship. That's how it appears to me, sir. But that's just my humble opinion. I might be wrong. Your ship might be very correct in its course and everything else. But I don't know. But I had the Prime Minister finish.
Member of his party. You see, his party. You see, and these are the things that you all forget. That, I mean, I don't know why are you forgetting that? Why are we forgetting that? Suddenly you found that out? Only now? You were Prime Minister? Suddenly you found that out? Forget. Was only a member of his party.
Jeanette.
If the person he's speaking about is who I think, that guy was only a member of his party. Can.
The Prime Minister also addressed the UWP's allegations of unethical behavior by a minister within his cabinet.
If the person he's speaking about is who I think, that guy was only a member of his party. You see, and these are the things that you
The Prime Minister also
get involved in. That's why I didn't answer it last week. But since you answered me, you asked me, I'm going to answer. This is desperation. It's of drowning men who are clutching at whatever they can.
The Prime Minister also addressed the UWP's allegations of unethical behavior by a minister within his cabinet.
If the person he's speaking about is who I think, that guy was only a member of his party. You see, and these are the things that you all forget. I don't. Why are you forgetting that? Why are we forgetting that? Suddenly you found that out? Only now? You were prime minister? You had all the power in your hands? You had this guy 5 years on your back consistently and persistently? You did nothing? And you found that out now? That is hypocrisy. That is highest. It's hypocrisy, it's frustration.
Okay, folks, let's just address this hypocrisy thing. Now, all of us know who the Prime Minister is speaking about. The question about in his cabinet, individuals with certain characters and behaviors in his government. And now he's saying that the opposition knew he was, the opposition knew, you knew. He was in your party. So, here is the confusion in my mind. You, Mr. Pear, and the Labour Party, said to us that at the time our minister was corrupt and dangerous and should not be in government. You, sir, said it. And by the way, don't forget that the United Workers' Party dealt with individuals in their party. They expelled some of them. They removed them from their party. So what do you mean they did not deal with it? The United Workers' Party dealt with those issues, but you, sir, embraced the same individuals that you told us was a problem in the country. That is hypocrisy, sir. That is hypocrisy. But who am I?
On national TV.
The Prime Minister says that the problem of crime and violence, though not acceptable, is not new to the country. Homicide figures for the years 2016 to 2021 during the tenure of the former UW administration were 32, 60, 43, 50, 55, and 75 respectively. The record of his administration on national security is clear, says the Prime Minister. However, the same, he says, cannot be said of the former administration.
But United Workers' Party pretends as if when they're in government, there were no issues with crime and violence. From the time we'd been in opposition, we'd always said that let us not make this thing political. There was a national security conference. The then Prime Minister was not there. He chose to go to Jamaica to speak at a political convention. I was there. But you see, we seem to have short memories.
According to the Prime Minister, his administration has done everything within its power to address the situation.
So, St. Lucians, there you have it. The Prime Minister have already given up. He said he did all what he could have done. So there is nothing more. But tutmun wepukau. Who was reading that report anyway? That news reporter. If that is the case, that the government have done everything, all the ammunitions they had in their bag, they use it up. So there is nothing else can be done. They gave up. That's what she said. that they said they have used everything already. And let me interpret that for you. We have no more ideas. We run out of ideas. We don't know how to deal with this. We don't know how to deal with it. So the St. Lucian people left that press briefing feeling deflated, feeling vulnerable, confused, and unsafe, because the Prime Minister declared to them that we did everything we could. We did everything we could. This is not a time to look at numbers from 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. This is time, my friend, for you to figure out what needs to be done right now, immediately, to protect the citizens of the country. And one, you got to get the guns off the streets. Well, even former government ministers are finding illegal guns, if that's true. So we got to figure this thing out, because if a former government minister can find an illegal gun, well, what about those fellas out there? So, bagay move. Things are not what it's supposed to be, St. Lucians. And all we having is a blame game, a back talk, back and forth, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, we start counting dead bodies again. St. Lucians, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to inform you that bagay move. But let's move on. I had more to say, but I'm just trying to control myself. So I'm not going to even, I'm going to leave that for another day. This whole crime thing with the Prime Minister, statements, or his lack thereof, because he said a lot of things and he said nothing. A lot of things and said nothing. Rambali will continue to pick up dead bodies in the streets until one of these other ministers take over the reign of the leadership of the government of St. Lucia. All of them wanted to do a coup and take out Chasney. They wanted to do all kind of thing and call vote of no confidence. Here is the opportunity for the Labour Party ministers to call a vote of no confidence in their Prime Minister. They know they need to do it. They know they must do it for the safety of the country. Call a vote of no confidence. I am calling for a vote of no confidence that should be tabled in the House at the next sitting, so that one of them other fellas can take over and rid us of this problem, this leadership problem that we're having now. And I don't care if they give Kenny Anthony the leadership for the next year and a half until elections. At least he will tell us something happened. But this brother ain't telling us nothing, but blaming everybody around him for what is happening in the country. Let's go over to St. Jude's, friends. I have a problem. I have a problem with understanding this whole St. Jude's drama. 2014, a hospital with 80% finish. $20 million was borrowed by Mr. Kenny Anthony for the St. Jude's Hospital. 80% finished, St. Lucians. And we are still dragging on. Remember, 80% finish in 2014. This is 2024. And I dare anyone to tell me Chasney didn't finish it. I am not blaming Alan Chasney and Guy Joseph for where this hospital is right now. You know, I will not blame them because I spend all day just going back and listening to interviews and just going back and forth. And my conclusion at the end of it is that I can't blame Mr. Chasney for St. Jude Hospital. And that's why I want you to just slow down and reason. Get away from all the political smoke in your head and let's just come center with me for a minute. Let us walk through the St. Jude's drama. Let's listen to this.
Podium, as the central theme of the meeting was to demand a resolution to the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project. Reynolds wasted no time in seeking answers to the current state of St. Lucia's health sector. She said some of the island's most experienced and knowledgeable medical personnel were being sent home with no replacements for the foreseeable future. Reynolds painted a bleak picture of the island's healthcare system.
I was advised by a healthcare professional a few days ago. I was advised as a woman, because she's a woman, and I'll say it here tonight. She said, 1, don't get pregnant. 2, don't get sick.
Now, hold. Now, folks, this was a government minister. This is, most of you know, she had her hands in the St. Jude's dating system. Because that's what I can say, it was a dating system at St. Jude's. It's a hotline, a dating system. Now you heard what she said. A medical person told her that she should not get sick or pregnant in St. Lucia. St. Lucians, this is coming from your politicians. And this is also coming from medical professionals who know fully well that people die in St. Lucia because they live in St. Lucia. You get sick in St. Lucia, the possibility is there you might not make it. Our government ministers are aware of the health crisis in the country. They knew all along. Here is the Labour Party, former minister, president of the Senate, in the boudin of the Labour Party, telling St. Lucians that she was advised by someone in the medical field that they should not get sick. So this woman has control over her sickness. She can decide to get sick today, not get sick today. She has that authority. So she can decide when she travels overseas, she can get sick. And when she comes back to St. Lucia, she can just take off sickness. So sickness is like a dress. You put it on and you take it off. So don't get sick in St. Lucia. Wait until you go on vacation somewhere and get sick. Miss Reynolds and government ministers, not all St. Lucians have the luxury of putting off their sickness until they get to a different country. And I would cry shame also on any medical professional who advise you, a government minister, that you should not get sick. But she's not advising the general public that they need to do something about the healthcare system. Basically, that's what the conversation should be. Not don't get sick in St. Lucia or don't get pregnant, because you guys are asking people to get pregnant, ain't it, lately? So, I am exposing St. Lucians, a medical disaster in your country that our politicians are very much aware of. And they're doing nothing but lip service to you, the citizens of the country. They played you on St. Jude's. As a matter of fact, they con you on St. Jude's. They knew the facts. They played you with the health system, and many of you pretend like you do not hear. I am telling you, the problem in St. Lucia are our politicians, our dishonest politicians, politicians who have no conscience, it seems. Because if anybody come to me and tell me, any medical professional, I'm in government or I have power, I'm in a party, and any one of them come to me and say, you know, Garfield, man, the health system is a mess and I'm afraid for the citizens of the country. I'm not comfortable with the healthcare system. We cannot help the citizens. They're dying. I understand if she comes to me and she says that to me, then I would say, okay, we got to do something urgently. I would agitate. I would ask my government, my government to let's focus on the health system. Let's invest billions of dollars if we have to. Let's get that money into the healthcare system, and let's forget about the jazz and carnival financing, all these things. Let's cut back, let's divert, let's put all our resources, or most of our resources, on keeping our citizens healthy and alive. But no, they tell you healthcare is a priority. Look what we're doing. If you're pregnant, you can get free this and free that. But they know that sometimes a visit or one sickness, like a migraine or a belly ache, can cause you your life in a country that is bankrupt when it comes to healthcare. Because the migraine could just be a tumor in your head, and once you get a little scan, then they can detect it and take care of it, of course. Or a stomach pain might not be gas, but something more serious that can be detected with proper healthcare system, and you can live a long, productive life at the end. So they're saying to you, if you have a belly ache, we don't know, we give you some pills, go home. We don't have beds today. We'll get some beds maybe next week. Somebody might die. Somebody might go home next week. So when we get a date, when we get a bed, we will let you know. Go home, drink the pills twice a day. Blah, blah, blah. Come back. When there could be something in that person that ruptured, and you can save their lives. One scan at that visit can save the life of a St. Lucian. St. Lucia, be afraid. Be afraid. And I'm saying it again. Be afraid. Because crapper will smoke your pipe. The ladies say, if you get sick, the medical person tell her don't get pregnant and don't get sick in St. Lucia. But let's listen to that again if you think this is a joke.
All finish. Don't get pregnant. Don't get sick. Ukaipuyasa. This is how bad it is.
All right. So she's sounding an alarm. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. But still, we could not have opened the OKU hospital. It was just sitting there with a name, with a naming ceremony. Thousands of dollars to name the hospital, but couldn't open it. Victoria Hospital falling apart. Water pouring in. They're talking about the new hospital that they call the box leaking. Well, you should have gone and visit that hospital in Castries. Victoria Hospital was falling apart at the seams. Patients on the ground, sitting down on the ground, on the hard floor, waiting for hours, blah, 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 blah. Even the very morgue was dysfunctional. And they knew that, you know. And it took COVID-19 and the United Workers' Party, after the naming ceremony, to go in and open the hospital. And I heard there is still a whole set of problems up there. No water, no supplies for the nurses. Nurses are working under serious conditions in St. Lucia. While these government bandits take your tax money and increase traveling allowance in the tune of millions of dollars, sending their friends and their families all over the world into positions to bleed the government system. St. Lucia, Ms. Reynolds said to you that it's bad. And I believe her. It's bad. The only problem is that she and her government was the problem, is the problem, will continue to be the problem until St. Lucians open their eyes and choose their representatives differently and wisely. And it's time for young people to wake up and retire these senior citizens. Wake up. Shake off the dust off yourself and put your names forward. Put your names forward to aid the country in the recovery that is needed. And I will submit to you that St. Lucia will need billions of dollars to aid in setting it back on track. Billions of dollars. At the end, I believe St. Lucia will have more debt than the United States when they finish borrowing. That's just my opinion. It's my mouth. I can say what I want.
St. Lucia's health facilities understaffed and not maintained. The UWP government doesn't seem to have a plan for the country's health sector.
The institutions that were built to repair you when you get sick, to heal you when you get sick, they are either not repairing them, not opening them, or planning to demolish all of them or part of them, or to...
Okay, let's just remind this sister while she... And this is just an old clip, by the way. But the last time I checked, as I said, it was the United Workers' Party who opened the hospital that was just named. Just saying. It is the United Workers' Party who decided that based on all the issues and all the monies that were already invested in the old buildings at St. Jude's, that it would be best to build bigger and better. Yes, it was the United Workers' Party. It was the United Workers' Party, I must remind you, who built that clinic in Miku. It was the United Workers' Party who had plans to revamp the entire healthcare system, providing medical insurance to all St. Lucians in the tune of $75,000. So not a lot of people would have to go and do barbecues for a scan. May I remind you that you guys did a naming ceremony, but knew you had not a cent to open the hospital. Just reminding you, yeah, ma'am, not my fault, but go ahead.
To privatize it or to partner with them. They have no idea what to do with your two hospitals.
Alvina Reynolds says the Alan Chastney-led administration's intention on assuming office was always to demolish the structure and called on the government to complete St. Jude Hospital. Garfield Alexander, NBC Prime.
Well, Garfield, thank you, but the lady don't know what she's doing, what she's saying. 2014, she said 80% finish. Clorox, some cleaning, and move in. Borrow $20 million. Then she turns around and tells Alan Chastney to finish the hospital, finish the hospital. I tell you, politicians are a bunch of hypocrites, and many of them are a bunch of liars and deceivers. If I was this woman and other government ministers who were involved, I wouldn't say much, I wouldn't be pointing fingers all over the place because some of you get away like bandits. Yes. And don't forget, you were health minister at some point, Don't forget that you had your hands in St. Jude's Hospital or on it. You remember that you turned St. Jude's into a dating site. Every week was a date. It was you. And then you look at the UWP administration, you're telling them, fix it, finish the hospital, fix it. Guys are such a shame. But let's go. I have something. We're going through it. Let's go down the road. Let's go down the road, friends. We're going down the road fast and in a hurry.
Cited structural issues with the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project and set about remedial works, which included the construction of an additional wing. However, political leader of the SLP, Philip J. Pierre, insists that there was no need for the government to undertake reconstruction works to the St. Jude facility. The facility is yet to open and the opposition is blaming it on petty politics.
Again, the government is paying for its own folly and for its petty politics. There was no reason why the government should not continue St. Jude's. They had an investigation, they spent $1 million, they accused everybody, then they broke down 2 buildings. There was no reason.
Pierre says had the government continued with the existing structure, the hospital would have been completed.
The government has stopped them, and now, as I always told them, 4 years is not 40 years. Now the reality has hit them that the 4 years is up, and they are in trouble, so they're trying everything, including personal and outrageous attacks against personalities in the opposition.
The opposition has repeatedly called for another respiratory facility in the south to handle the surge in COVID-19 cases. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
So, there you have it, the Prime Minister, who was opposition when he was speaking, accused the then government, Alan Shasta government, of petty politics. And he says, nothing is wrong with the building, you could have finished it, just finish it. And the Lord permitted that this government had to borrow $200 million after investing millions of dollars of local monies, and still they can't finish it. The same building that they say could have finished. Brethren, when he told you that the building could have finished, it had no approved plans. 2, they had no idea the cost of completing the buildings. 2, something happened, they couldn't find money. 3, they have fellas supervising and engineers who were not doing anything but increase their salaries on a very regular basis. They knew that St. Jude's was another trap. They knew that St. Jude's, those structures had major issues. Them fellas knew, but you hear what he said, that they were playing petty politics and they should just finish the building. Do you realize, folks, that this Prime Minister told us, St. Lucians, that all what they were saying to us was a lie from the pits of hell. All the dates they were giving us, all the dates they were giving us was a sham, was a scam, was fake. And they knew it was fake all along. They knew they had no approval. You heard what they said? Well, we had to go and get approval. Anyway, let's hear them ourselves.
Buildings was immediately halted and in 2019, the government announced that it had decided not to pursue the completion of the original buildings and opted to construct a new building to house the hospital. By the time the general elections of 2021 were called, the progress on that new building was woefully nowhere near being ready to accommodate the transition from the George Odlum National Stadium back to the OJ site. In an attempt to bring a final resolution to the issue of a proper functioning hospital to the south of the island, the Cabinet of Ministers in August 2021 approved the appointment of a committee to review options for the completion and commissioning of the St. Jude's Hospital and to advise Cabinet on the feasibility and requirements for an immediate move and transfer of operations from the George Odlum National Stadium to the original OJ site. The review committee recommended to the government that the completion of the ground floor of the new building should not be pursued. They also recommended that the completion of phase 1 of the original St. Jude's buildings be pursued and that the physiotherapy and dialysis buildings also be incorporated into the St. Jude's Hospital complex. The final recommendations from the review committee was to reconstitute the project steering committee to ensure that the principal stakeholders are also afforded an opportunity to contribute to the decision-making process moving forward. On November 1st, 2022, the government...
So let's just get this right, huh? And I'll show you how them fellas are a bunch of despicable people. This brother is saying to us, Mr. Wilson, I believe he is, that the government put a committee together so that they can explore options, and the report says basically that they should abandon the new building and continue with phase 1, which is the old hospitals. And yeah, because it was nowhere close to finishing, there's nothing much can be done there, so we're going to do the old hospital. The old hospital, you know, it is okay to do so. But let me ask you, government of St. Lucia, if you really believe that the old phase 1 was 80% finished, why did you borrow $200 million? And before the $200 million, why did you invest millions of dollars? And don't tell me the mold and the bats and everything caused the hospital to move from 80% finish to 20% finish. No, you won't be able to do that one to me. That doesn't make sense. So from 80%, because of bats and rats and mice and goats, it moved right back to 20% finish. And I would submit to you, Mr. Government SLP, you misled the people of St. Lucia and St. Jude's, and you're doing it again. There is no room for negotiation in what I just said. From 80% to 20 or 40% finish, no way some rats and bats would put back a hospital from 80 to 20 or even 30 or 40% finish. No way a hospital that is 80% finish would cost $200 million plus. And I am sure it will hit $1 billion when you finish with it. No way in the world 80% finish would cost the government of St. Lucia all the monies that you are borrowing and quoting every day to the citizens. But let's go forward. Let's go forward.
Recommence construction activities at the St. Jude's Hospital reconstruction site. The first component of those works included clearing of the buildings and the installation of a perimeter chain link fence. The project has now moved into a very critical phase where construction activity is moving full steam ahead. Over the next hour, we shall be discussing the St. Jude's Hospital Rehabilitation Project. I am your host, Silas Wilson, the liaison officer for the St. Jude's Hospital reconstruction project employed with the Ministry of Economic Development. My guests today are the chairperson for the St. Jude's Hospital Reconstruction Project Steering Committee, Mr. Michael Willius, and Mr. Jeffrey McKee, an architect by profession and one of many technical persons employed with the firm Caribbean Consulting Engineers Limited. Welcome, ladies and welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Let me first start with Mr. Willius. In August 2021, the Cabinet of Ministers appointed a review committee to examine the options available to the government and to present a recommendation to the government on how to proceed on completing and operationalizing the hospital. Kindly explain to our listeners, how did we get to where we are today? What factors were taken into account in determining a move to the original buildings and not the new building which was started back in 2019?
Listen, folks.
I'm happy to be here today to provide some insights into the reconstruction of St. Jude Hospital. To answer your question, as you rightly stated, the Cabinet of Ministers appointed a review committee to look into the project and to advise on the way forward. And the review committee came back with the recommendation to continue work on phase one, what we call phase one, which is the project which was started in 2010 under Honorable Stevenson King, continued by Dr. Anthony, and now the recommendation was to go back to these structures and to
But let me just say this to you, St. Lucians. You listen to the names the gentleman called. I want you all to write those names down. Dr. Kenny Anthony, Stevenson King, Philip J. Pear. Write those names down. These are the three owners of the problems at St. Jude's Hospital. Mark them. Mark their names down. These are the problems. Philip J. Pear, Kenny Anthony, and Stevenson King. Listen.
First of all, the committee examined phase one and phase two, which is what is the new structure that was put up. And in doing the examination, they discovered that there was absolutely nothing wrong with the structures. They are sound, they were well built, and there was considerable improvement in the structures in terms of the work that had been done up to August 2016. They also discovered that in terms of costing, it was in a much more state of readiness for completion. So it would have cost the government a lot less to go into that structure.
You realize, folks, that everybody that speaks of finance for St. Jude's, all they tell you is a lot less, a lot more, and blah, blah. That's all they tell you. There's no specifics, you know. All the professionals, y'all listen to them carefully. I'm telling you. You got to pay attention, St. Lucians. It's time for you to stop with the mapui and all the nonsense that distracts you and focus on what is before you. That is what them fellas are saying to you. What they have been saying. Not one of them give you figures. Lot more, lot less, cheaper, more expensive. That's all you're hearing. No figures at all from our professionals. So them fellas saw a new building. And they said, well, the old buildings, the structures was good from 2016. Everything was good and blah, blah, blah. But then they said to you that, yes, the 80% building, everything was good. The wall structures, everything are good. No problem. Nothing to see here. The hallways are good. The ceilings are good. Everything is good. Nothing to see. And that was their report. These are the professionals, you know. I'm not talking about the guys who build the 3 huts in Dennery. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the St. Jude's Hospital. Them fellas are professionals. And I will show you where our professionals are taking us for a very long and expensive ride. And it's not even a limousine that's taking us for the ride, you know. You know them cats that they pull the donkey in, that the donkey pull you in? That's what the ride we get, on pothole roads. So a donkey cart on potholes, that's where we're driving. That's where they're taking us for a ride. But let's go.
Based on that, they felt that it would be money well spent to continue the reconstruction project, which was started as phase 1, and to complete it. So there was nothing wrong with the buildings. They are sound. They were in a much more advanced stage of preparedness, and financially it would serve the people of St. Lucia and the taxpayers' money better, because you would have had to spend less money to get it into a state where you could bring back the operations of the hospital to St. Jude's on the site at OJ.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the Prime Minister did not wake up one morning and decided that the government was going to attempt to complete the original structures which were started back in 2010. There was a lot of professional...
Let me answer that question, sir. Yes, he just wake up one morning and decided that, because it was his campaign promise that they will go back to the old St. Jude. So don't come with professionals and all this. And again, that's why I honestly don't like people take me for a ride, I don't like people do pappy show with me, honestly. I honestly don't like people to do pappy show, and I don't like to see them do pappy show with other people. Make people feel like they're stupid. The man spoke about it all during they condemned. They called the new hospital a box. The Prime Minister promised that when he get back into power, that the SLP, would finish phase 1 and not phase 2. So when you come here and telling us, the Prime Minister did not wake up and just decide to go back there, he had already made up his mind what he was going to do. And I am telling you, he would have never completed that new hospital. You're taking us for a ride, and I don't appreciate that. Your guys are being paid by the citizens. You're being paid with taxpayers' money, and you're still messing with their minds. It's just a shame. You have no conscience, you people. But go ahead.
Review committee.
Absolutely. As you pointed out, the cabinet appointed a team of professionals. On that team, we had 2 architects. We had someone involved in construction management.
Who it was?
We had quantity surveyor. We had procurement experts. There were quite a wide range of expertise in terms of the sort of expertise required to make a good assessment of the buildings, of the project, and what was required. So it wasn't a situation where the Cabinet of Ministers decided on their own. A review committee comprising of professionals, including structural engineer, and as I said, a number of other disciplines were the ones who made an examination of the 2 structures. They looked at the entirety of what was going on, and the recommendation was made to Cabinet that it would be a very prudent decision to move ahead. Well, we work closely with the Ministry of Economic Development, the executing agency. We ensure that the right processes are followed. For instance, we have been able to get a consultant engineer supervisor appointed on the project as consultant to the government. We ensure that that process is in place, because when you have a project of that magnitude, even though you have the project committee, the project unit, so we bring all these units together.
Secures the appropriate enabling environment to advance the sector,
which had to be affected to the original designs for the hospital. Did you find that there were significant variations that had to be accommodated?
We had to make some changes, minor changes, that is, due to the change of the scope, the general scope of the project, as in direction from the government as to the direction which the project, the buildings, certain buildings which are going to be used within the project. We had to make a few minor modifications to specific, especially the east wing, and the west wing, to accommodate the use of some of the buildings that previously had.
On passe après Magie Petit ça.
But these changes are minor, which would not cause any major delay in proceeding with completing the hospital.
So I just wanted to add to what Simaki has said. I don't want to leave the impression that work is going on without DCA approval. Work has been, there are buildings, 4 buildings with DCA approval, and we've been working on these buildings while we await the final approval on the other buildings. Okay, so
solutions, my question have always been, right? What these 4 buildings, we're trying to figure out which of these buildings got approval or had approval all along, and I found out that it was the new building that Mr. Shastny put up. They had approval from the DCA. But let's let these fellas talk.
Work has been ongoing in terms of how we progress on the West Wing, and how we progress on the physiotherapy and dialysis building, as well as the laundry and maintenance building. Full DCA approval were granted for these 4 buildings, and that is where we have been. So the work that has been progressing so far has been on those buildings. So what Mr. McKee is talking about is the balance of the project, which is the West Wing.
Okay.
The West Wing, and the surgical wing also.
Yes,
and
yes.
the West Wing and the surgical wing.
I don't know why them fellas got
this
scared.
is what he's talking about, where slight modifications had to be made. DCA, new submissions had to be made to DCA, and this is what we're waiting. So when he's speaking about final approval, he's talking about that aspect of the work. But the work that has been going on, I want to make it absolutely clear that those buildings, we have had full DCA approval on them.
Yes.
So,
But that affords us the perfect opportunity to segue into another part of the discussion. Depending on who you listen to, one would get the impression that the new building, which had started in 2019, would have formed the entire hospital complex, which is very incorrect. There are a number of other buildings that would have also formed part of the hospital complex, irrespective of whether that new building was what was going to form the main hospital complex. So tell us about what would the entire complex, Mr. Williams, look like when St. Jude's is completed.
Okay, so if you look at the layout of the entire hospital, we are talking about, initially we were talking about 14 buildings, and we are back to the same 14 buildings. What the new, so the impression is being given that phase 1, you had a lot of buildings scattered all over the place, and by going into phase 2, which is one huge building, you would have eliminated the need for all these other buildings. That is not the facts. The facts are completely different to that. The new building, which was being pursued by the last administration, for it to function as a hospital, would need 12 other buildings, the services of 12 other buildings. All it would have done was you would have brought into one structure the facilities on the West Wing and the surgical wing. So basically, it just would absolve what was being done in 2 other buildings. And they are continuous buildings, they are linked to each other. And you would have brought it into that. But all the rest of all the other 12 buildings which form part of the compound would have been part of the new facility. In fact, so much so that the West Wing, which is part of the old structure, you would have had to use the administrative building upstairs and the kitchen downstairs, which would have created a challenge because there's a road passing between it. So when you prepare food in the kitchen, you have to cross a road to take it across into that new structure if that was being used as the hospital. So in fact, the layout of the hospital remains the same. 2 buildings were destroyed, the physiotherapy and the dialysis building. They were destroyed and they were replaced by 2 other buildings for the same purpose. They're just bigger buildings. So those 2 buildings will be parts of phase 1, which is the structures that were there before.
Okay, so St. Lucian's. Ooh, Papa. So I'm a little lost, and that's the truth. Now, the brother's saying that out of 14 buildings, 4 buildings would be completed basically by June. Now, I'm sure you can guess which of the 14 buildings, which are the 4 buildings out of the 14 would be completed by June. We can just speculate. Because if you have new buildings, then of course, the new buildings would have gotten all the approvals and everything else, and they would have been well on their way already to completion. So think about it, 4 out of 14 buildings being completed by June of this year. Now you heard them speaking about the physiotherapy buildings and let's take a call. Caller, you on the air, Caribbean American News Media. Go ahead.
Good evening, Brother Garfield. How are you?
Good evening. Just trying to make sense of the nonsense here.
Very interesting, man. That's the first time I'm hearing that particular interview.
Yeah.
With those 2 gentlemen that you have there.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to disturb the program. Mm-hmm. But something came to mind, mm-hmm. and I had to share it with you.
Talk to me.
Brother Garfield, if you want to launder money, call the SLP government. You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You're on the air. Mm.
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. You go ahead.
I can't hear you. Oh.
Yes.
Okay, now I hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was saying, if you want to launder money, you just call the SLP government. You know, Brother Garfield, it is evident that this is what is happening with the taxpayers' dollars. You know, these guys are making their friends rich with all these nonsense that they are creating and calling themselves professionals, which I disagree. Those guys are not professionals. You see, when I look at construction, especially to that magnitude, if you go in to talk to me about a particular structure that you deem to be unfit, and then you say this one, you look at structurally that it is sound, but you cannot give me figures. I need numbers as to how much it would cost to finish based on what you saw. Because if you can tell me, go back to it, Brother Garfield, you're supposed to tell me how much it would cost me, wrong or right?
That's right.
I can't hear you there. I think there's a
sorry
problem.
about that. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
You can hear me, right? Yes, good.
So I'm saying that to say, brother, these things don't make sense with those so-called professionals. When you want to build a structure, let's say you want to build a house in New York right now, aren't you going to look for an appraisal based on the size of the house you want? When you talk to your architect, wouldn't you want to know how much it would cost you based on what you're looking for?
That's right. That's right.
But man, that's standard practice.
Yep.
This is standard practice. Today, we're in a situation, and based on that clip, this is probably like 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, probably.
This clip?
The clip you play in there, is it about 2.5 years ago?
No, that's new stuff, brother.
That is new stuff? Are you serious? No. You're laughing. You're not serious, man. You're not serious. This is new stuff you actually playing there?
It is new stuff.
Listen, Brother Garfield, we need to basically mobilize all the people in the diaspora, put money together, and sue the government of St. Lucia. If you're telling me that this is a new program for truth?
This is about 4 months ago.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
These guys actually come 4 months ago to speak on something that have taken them more than 2 years. Because they're talking about an assessment that they made about 2 years or prior, right?
Yep.
And it is still ongoing.
Yeah.
And 4 months ago, they still cannot give you a number on it.
Can't. Up to now.
As to what is the cost.
Yeah.
Man, this is a joke, man. This is a joke. You see, I am glad you playing that, to be honest with you. But how many people that will actually understand what you play in there, my brother?
And that's why a lot of people are getting bored and they're saying, well, why are you playing that? But there's a reason for it. Yep.
It's complicated.
That's right.
And people are getting frustrated as to why is it so complicated. You know, and I'll tell you why people getting frustrated. Brother Garfield, there is no numbers, Brother Garfield.
Nope.
No numbers to basically tell the people, okay, this is so and so, and we're doing this for this particular reason. No, there's nothing like that.
Nothing.
All these guys are doing is coming with false promises to tell, and they're not the politicians, you know.
No.
They're quote unquote professionals.
Yep.
Can you believe what the guy just said there? The guy is literally saying, after all the inspection they made, that they had to make a few adjustments.
Just a few, not
but they had to
major.
send those adjustments to the department
DCA.
to get it approved.
Yep.
Isn't that what he said?
Yes, and they're just minor stuff, nothing major.
Nothing much. But Brother Garfield, I don't know if you know much about building, but if you already have a certified plan, as long as whatever change you're going to make is cosmetic, you don't have to go back to planning again.
Once it's minor.
Yeah,
Once
as long as you're not
with the structure,
disturbing the integrity of the building, which is the structural, I mean like load-bearing walls, integrity of the building.
Or
as long as
they would have gotten conditional approval.
My brother, that wasn't approved. And I still believe that thing is not approved. You see, this has been going on for a long time, you know. 2 prime ministers went by and that thing couldn't get approval, you know, 2. But they're blaming Shashney King and what's his name? Kenny.
Remember they said at some point they could not have found the drawings for the building. There was none. Remember they said that? So how can you seek approval back in the days, a couple of years ago, for something that you did not have a sketch for?
But that's the game they're playing. That's the game they're playing. Instead of coming out and give us the truth, they'll keep lying to us because you know why? We keep accepting those lies. even if we know they're lying, the mere fact that we're not saying anything, because something that passed for law in St. Lucia is no news. So basically, no news is always good news in St. Lucia. So if the people are not saying anything to the government, it's good news. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They are proving it, And by staying silent, you allowing them to destroy the country. Because these guys are destroying the country. And you see those politicians. I will say something on your program, brother.
Talk to me.
You see these politicians and these public servants that we have in St. Lucia. The next government that the UWP form, I want a law to be passed that if a public servant is not doing their due diligence in terms of working in the interest of the country, they need to be held accountable, brother.
They should.
They need to be held liable.
Yep.
Because unless you start punishing the very people that's supposed to protect the country and protect the Constitution, and work in the interest of the people, then if you cannot prosecute them, they will keep doing the same thing,
And brother, what I
Garfield
would do, what I would encourage the United Workers' Party to do when they get in power is to commission. What I would recommend to the United Workers' Party when they take the reins of government is to have a commission of inquiry in the entire project.
Yes, but
Call
I
them
agree
fellas
with you, but also
and broadcast it publicly.
I agree with you. No, I don't want them to broadcast it. Let me tell you, I don't want them to do it. Let me tell you why, and you will agree with me. I know you will agree with me.
Talk to me.
It's high time that we stop allowing the politicians to come and deliver messages that public servants are supposed to deliver. If it's that your department that is in charge of infrastructure and there is a problem on the Millennium Highway, I want somebody from the infrastructure department to come and deliver the news as to why is that project taking so long, what is happening, who is the person in charge of that project. It's high time we hold those public servants accountable, brother.
High time.
I don't want no politician to come and give me news about what happened with my money. I want the finance department to come and tell me why is there a misuse of our funds.
Yeah, the United Workers' Party got to promise its supporters and the people of St. Lucia that there will be a commission of inquiry into the St. Jude's project.
They need to.
Yeah, they
but
got
I
to.
don't
We have
want
no
them
choice.
to come out with the message. I want the committee to bring forth the evidence. I do not want the politician to bring, because you know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
If the politician bring out the report, then it becomes politicized.
We don't need that. I don't mind to sit on that committee.
Say that again?
I don't mind to be part of the commission.
Well, I'm telling you, we want people with integrity. We want people that will actually do the due diligence, do what is supposed to be done for the country, and not in the interest of those crooks that are there.
That's
because
right. I will do the opening and
crooks.
closing prayer for the inquiry.
We need people that are serious as to the business of the country, brother Garfield.
That's right.
It is high time that we stop taking our people for a ride. It is simple. These two gentlemen, all three of them, because the guy that's interviewing, he's also part of it.
Well, one of the guys looks scared. One of the guys who is a professional, he looks scared, and the other one seems to be correcting him and trying to clear the air, because he
precisely. Let's get the story straight.
The guy looked like he's uncomfortable. You saw it. He looks uncomfortable, and the other one looking at him and said, "Oh, let's just be clear that we got approval." I don't want people to think that guy seems to be a good guy. The one who is scared.
Well, brother man,
who is nervous?
It is sad. It is sad that we are enjoying this kind of nonsense in that country. We cannot continue like that. We cannot continue. Somebody have to stand up. And I will say, if Emmett Till didn't go and sit in the front of the bus, maybe today, nobody in America, no black person in America would be sitting on that bus. Am I right?
Yep.
One person had to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, somebody needs to take charge of the business of the country, because clearly everybody is there for their pockets.
Yeah.
So much money is being collected on taxes. So much money is being collected on the petrol, which is the gas at the pump. More money is being borrowed. Yet still, Brother Garfield, nothing is being done in the interest of the people. So what are those monies being borrowed for? What are these taxes being collected for? You know, I am afraid of one thing to happen in the country is an uprising, because a lot of times you've seen it happen before. Mm-hmm. Because when you see small islands like that, these things happen, a lot of the time you find the country going down to the drain.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, because a lot of the big countries tend to not support them to rebuild them.
Yep, that's so
you
true.
Know,
but
we have to look at our interest and stop looking in the interest of those politicians.
Yeah,
you know, because these politicians.
There's a young lady, Jade Brown from NBC, former NBC anchor, who were hired as the PRO. Now, there's a government program, I believe it's called Inside something, St. Jude's Health or whatever it is. And I believe that program should not be on NBC. It should be on the Government Information Service, on the reconstruction of the St. Jude's Hospital. That is not, that should not be on that program. It should be on an independent media like the GIS, where all other citizens will be comfortable watching. A lot of people don't watch NBC.
Yeah.
So they go to NBC putting out information only for the hacks.
Yeah, but if you look at it's watered down information, Brother Garfield.
And NBC, I'm sure, is being paid by taxpayers.
Yes.
And it's just conflict of interest when you look at it all around.
Yeah. It is a sad situation down there, man. It is very bad. And you know what's very disturbing too? The people living there, they I don't think they really understand the magnitude of what's happening, because people are tend to taking this thing as a joke. I listen to this guy for the transport board, Godfrey Ferdinand. And he was talking about, how, people are arriving to work late. And he was giving, the reason he think people are arriving late is because of, basically too much congestion, right? And, Brother Garfield, I have to laugh. I have to laugh. You know why I have to laugh?
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy know for a fact that because of the road is a problem.
Of course, it's the roads.
That is the fact of people arriving late. The road is a problem.
The roads, yeah.
Because if you have a citizenry, you will realize that there are more vehicles. The same way you have a census for how much people in the country. Mm-hmm. You should know how many vehicles that are being ordered yearly in the country, right?
That's right.
So you keep track of how many vehicles that are coming in, as to how much infrastructure you need to build as per those vehicles that you bring in the country. You cannot leave the infrastructure the same way and expect them not to have congestion. The man is even going as far to say, maybe the government needs to cut the vehicles that is coming in the country. Instead of telling the government, you collecting all those taxes, you need to upgrade the infrastructure.
How about we take his minibus off the road?
You say get the minibus off the road?
Yeah, his. For more space.
Oh, yeah.
Because if he's saying, let's limit the amount of vehicles in the country by disadvantaging people who want to get to work or get a ride, drive into from their work late at night at the hotel, they can drive themselves to their homes. Mm-hmm. It's convenient, it's safe. Why would we want to stop these individuals from
because they all want to be politically correct. Yeah. They want to be on the side where they will not get criticized.
Yeah, I think we should get rid of some of these government vehicles
when I listen to those
that are
guys,
just driving around the place doing nothing.
Yeah, when I listen to those guys, Brother Garfield, Mr. Bermuda come to mind all the time. Mm-hmm. We are really a clown country, You know, like I cannot fathom how the people that are suffering the most are the very people that will come to defend those guys, you know.
Yeah, Maji.
You know, I know you probably know of many people in Denry Village. I know of many people in the valley that are struggling.
Yeah.
However, they'll tell you Sean again. They'll still tell you Sean again.
Yeah, man.
Even if the kid cannot have lunch to go to school, they'll still tell you Sean again.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I would ask myself that question every day. What are we paying for in this country, brother? I don't know, but we need a hand in that country. I don't know who's going to put it, but someone needs to do it.
Need to put a hand.
And maybe it's you that have to do it, but I don't know. Someone needs to do it.
We'll put the hand soon, brother. But nice hearing you.
Have a good one. Okay, ciao.
Yes, thank you. Folks, that was a good call. I want to show you something, quickly. Let me just show you this.
On January 15th, 2024, the government of St. Lucia issued a contract for the refurbishment and rehabilitation works of 4 structures on the St. Jude's site. Firstly, the maintenance room, inclusive of laundry facilities, and the power room are being operationalized. As we speak, the west wing, comprising the kitchen and cafeteria areas, are also seeing major works downstairs, while up...
Now wait. So folks, you realize in the video that they're digging up the foundation. You realize that they're blocking off walls and they're cutting doors and everything else. Do you realize that? 80% finished. Let me take you back to that clip. Observe. We're closing now, but observe.
And cafeteria areas are also seeing major works downstairs, while upstairs, the administrative, clerical, and finance fixtures, fittings, and electricals are being installed.
Look at the cubicles. Couldn't buy portable. Now hold a minute. This is just an observation. I want you to watch this. I'm not going to play it. Just watch. Observe this. Look at this. Look at the type of work them fellas are doing at St. Jude's. Look, that's what you call cubicles. Little offices where people do their little work. Look at that. Sheetrock. They build them permanent. I want you to observe. Now, I've seen other construction where they build their box and then they bring in, removable, and there's those removable cubicles where you can shift them to suit your needs as the hospital aged, as the demand for more space and other things are needed, then you can move them around. But them fellas build the partitions with studs, tracks, and drywall. You see, my people? You see what is happening in your country? Anyway, let's go. Our engineer. I thought I was playing the game.
The Prime Minister, as Minister of Finance, along with his cabinet, also had to decide what to do regarding physiotherapy and dialysis provisions. The options were...
Hold a bit. Let me just show you something before. Let's just go back slowly. Something I want to show you. Just observe, right?
The Prime Minister, as Minister of Finance, along with his cabinet, also had to decide what to do regarding physiotherapy and dialysis provisions. The options were to build 2 new structures or co-opt 2 sections of the former administration's construct. In prudent management, this government decided to use 2 sections to complete the works, both in the public interests of finance and time, as the South has suffered tremendously without an operational dialysis unit. These works are scheduled for completion by July this year.
Now, folks, I just stopped it to show you that the fellas no longer call this the box. It is no longer the box to construct from the former administration. Huh?
These works are scheduled for completion by July this year, 2024.
Oh, you need to hear that one.
These works has suffered tremendously without an operational dialysis unit. These works are scheduled for completion by July this year, 2024. C'est hak flabon sav bien, guided with day building qui était bien crucial. A 12-month self-comforting, simplistic rhetoric, this government continues to remain focused. The mission continues.
Dig, fellas, dig to the ground. What's going on? Look at the walls. Hold, brethren. I don't want to laugh at y'all. But St. Lucians, look at the wall, how they butcher that wall. Look at the floor. Look at the walls and look at the floor. Ekdimwa sina fu. Look at how they butcher that wall to get wire in it and all kind of stuff. 80% finish. So them fellas put down the floor, put down the walls, no accommodations for piping or electricals or nothing. It means that somebody was just building a foul pen. So how come now we're digging up the floors, digging up the walls, cutting them up, butchering them up, and it was 80% finished? That's my concern. St. Lucians, look at that. Y'all are seeing the floor? Look at the floor properly. Look at the walls. Look at the wall. You see? Them fellas cut that wall so much it looked like they wasn't even sure where they was going to put the pipes. Look at the floor. Butcher. My father. Look at that. That's all for now, brethren. I'm not even going to go through the rest of the stuff I have there because now, I'm not telling you that the guys wouldn't finish their hospital, you know. I would never say that. I would love for it to finish. I would love for the people to get out of that stadium as soon as possible. But all the deception and lies around it, yeah, it's not good for us. It's not good. Martin, you into construction. Who's your bike, huh? Them fellas butcher the floor so much it ain't look like a floor anymore. The walls is like the map of St. Lucia. Mama. When all them fellas had to do, is to go over and finish that new building. And yes, you will need the other buildings to, to finish everything. Fine. But do other things with those buildings. You don't have to dig up the floor. You don't have to dig up the walls, compromise the wall. Anybody sneeze, the wall break down. Well, I'm just saying, you guys are professionals. You wouldn't do that. A little tornado, something shake the place, man. All them filling in the wall falls out. Y'all are good solutions, but watch your bread. Watch your bread, Lucians. Watch your bread. So you will never hear the box anymore. No more box. The fellows who recommended to them never told them that they got to use that new building also. Yo pade Diyo sa. Yo pade jeme Diyo sa. Yo sav bien. Mais yo ka di nou, it's a box is not good. We will preserve it for further use. All the time, the fella's agenda was to use it all the time, was to use part of it. And they keep telling you, well, we're finishing 4 buildings, the physiotherapy and blah, blah, blah. All the time, all the fellas are telling you we are using part of the new building. Because they're so ashamed of calling it a box. But, folks, wise me, I got to go right now. Folks, you have a beautiful night. It was nice being here with you. Imagine I spent 3 days with you all. Mama muelas. Let me go and drink something from my throat to ensure that my throat function. I have a visible solution. Mama here, right? Anyway, folks, enjoy the rest of your evening.
This is an SOS from the St. Lucia. Help! Help! SOS! SOS! Mayday! Mayday!
Folks, go to sleep. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Have a beautiful night. Thank you so much for keeping my company throughout this night. Look forward to seeing you on another show. Look, if you have not liked and followed the program, you need to do so. Encourage your friends to do so. And also, you need to put on the notification bell, because I will be on ever so often as information comes. And as I get bullied and all those things, I will come on and we will deal, all right? So, blessings, folks, and somebody want a big story. I don't even have strength for a big story now. Money back, I put fares. You all want a big story? Well, ma'am, let me see if I can find a big story.
Big story, Philip. Pierre attack elderly people and tell, a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attack elderly people and tell
him out.
A big story.
Take his microphone.
A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre
Take his
attack
microphone. Just a
elderly
minute.
people
Just a
and
minute.
tell,
Take his
big
microphone.
story.
Usher him out.
I must apologize to elderly people. A big story.
Depuis, on passe à point manger petit ça.
Elderly people and tell, a big story.
On passe à point manger petit ça.
The big story. Philip J. Pierre attack.
Y'all like too much drama. I dummy beer. God bless you, folks. See y'all. Nice having you. Blessings.